My name's Angelo, and welcome to We Want Picks. This is the only channel dedicated to UFC fight picks and DraftKings lineups run by MMA insiders and professional fighters. Every week, I join Dan Kramer and Nick Newell, two longtime professional fighters that have fought at the highest levels on the planet, as well as Jacob Lyons, a skinny kid from Indiana. So join us every single week for our full fight card breakdowns, our individual fight card breakdowns, our betting guide, and our DraftKings lineups. We have a big week with UFC 262 and a big promotion from Monkey Knife Fight. If you didn't watch my individual video breaking that down, let me walk you through it. This week, Monkey Knife Fight is giving anybody who plays $20 or more a free $10 if Jacob's lock of the week wins. So lots of pressure on Jacob this week. So
all
again,
on you, Jacob.
Lots of pressure. You're going to owe a lot of people money if you get this wrong. So again, this week, go into Monkey Knife Fight. Go to playmkf.com/wewantpicks. Deposit money using promo code WWP. They'll instantly match that money, give you free money. Take that free money, play $20 worth on some of the lines that we're about to walk through for you. And then you win triple. And if Jacob's lock of the week wins,
when it wins,
you'll wake up Sunday morning with 10 more free dollars. We didn't have any fight drops this week, but we have had one of the hardest cards to pick fights for. We did have a fight edition, and all of these people are incredibly affordable outside of a few, which makes this harder than usual. So I'm going to walk through my lineup, and the rest of the guys will walk through theirs. Let me start. I have made some changes since the beginning of the week based on weigh-ins and based on just internal doubts. A quick PSA to anybody out there building a lineup. If you've got a ton of money left over, but you're confident in your lineup, do not worry about the money left over. Worry about your lineup. This is the week where you could have $2,000 left over and still dominate. Don't worry about the leftover money. My lineup is...
How much money did you have left over?
I don't remember. It actually wasn't a ton, but I did fall into that trap early. I had Shevchenko because I have a lot of money. I need to spend it. And then I got rid of her because I'm like, you know what? I do not trust her enough. I don't care about the money. I got to put that out of my mind. And that's why I have a new lineup here. So I have Shane Burgos over Barboza at $8,400. That fight is going to be a firefight. Shane Burgos is just a machine gun of punches. Obviously, everybody knows Edson Barboza and how he fights. So I do think Shane Burgos wins because I think the weight cut and everything else, you know, the very long career and the damage Barboza's taken over the years is catching up to him. With that being said, Shane Burgos, he takes his own damage, but he's incredibly busy. I see him winning. I'll take him at $8,400. I have Michael Chandler in the main event at $7,500. That is, Jacob said this last week, that is like the greatest value you're going to get in DraftKings. Even if you think Michael Chandler loses, which I do not, $7,500 for a main event fighter in a title fight. And he's a former world champ, two-time world champion. Like I think Michael Chandler wins this fight. We do the individual breakdowns, but he has a lot of opportunities here with takedowns. He has a lot of big punching power, and he has 5 rounds to score points. I will take that at $7,500. Then I have Beneil Dariush over Ferguson. Early in the week, I was super confident in this. Jacob keeps talking about how Tony Ferguson looks really good in the press conference, looks really good in weigh-ins. He doesn't seem like the crazy person that he was the last couple of fights. That actually does have me a little nervous about Tony Ferguson if he, you know, is sort of, he's always a little crazy, but if he's fixed some of the personal issues he's had. With that being said, $8,600, I think Beneil gets it done. I think Beneil Dariush is better everywhere, honestly. He's the better conventional striker. He's the better MMA grappler. And I think he has, I don't want to say a higher fight IQ because Tony Ferguson has, you know, an incredible experience and has done some wild things, but keyword wild, right? He can be a little reckless at times. And if Beneil doesn't fall into that trap of the weird stuff Tony Ferguson doesn't do, I think Beneil wins. I'm going with Grundy over Venata. That's the most confident I am of anybody on the card. Grundy is just an absolute savage wrestler who never stops. There's going to be a ton of points there, potentially a stoppage. 8,200, I'll do that. I have Lutz over Aguilar. Similar logic. I think Lutz is, I flipped on this pick. Earlier in the week, I had Aguilar, the older vet. I've done the flip. I'm going with the younger up-and-comer, has the grappling potential. Dan convinced me when you went through your whole spiel about these young guys, how quickly they sort of progress in their careers. And, I thought it was a pick 'em, but I was going with Aguilar earlier in the week, literally because of age and experience. And I've gone the other way with, I'll take your word for it, Dan. These young guys are growing at such a rapid pace.
It's going to be my fault now.
It is your fault if I lose that one.
I like how you set that up.
And then I'm going with Jacare
Jacob's lock of
over
the week.
Munoz. Jacare is Jacare, right? Munoz is basically a younger version of Jacare, minus the technical striking, minus the power, minus the experience. So I'm going with Jacare because he has more power. He's a better striker from a technical striking aspect, and he obviously has the experience. He's on a weird skid, but if you look at that, it's the freak loss to Kevin Holland. He lost a 5-round decision to the current light heavyweight champion of the world. So I think Jacare gets it done. He's not young. He's not fresh, but he has all the tools in the world to get it done. And I have Jacare at $8,500. And who I do not have is Shevchenko. I think the price point is based off of the last name. She probably will win, but she may not. And I'm not spending that kind of money on, the probably should win. Jacob, why don't you walk through your lineup and what you've got going on?
Yeah, I will say that Jacare, 41 years old, this was the first week where he looks a little soft to me. At the weigh-ins, the ceremonial weigh-ins, he still looks, for 41, he looks great, but it's just like, you can kind of see it. So maybe he's lost that step. We'll see what happens. But yeah, you mentioned Tony Ferguson. He sold me. I don't know how he did it. I going into this week, I'm like, Tony Ferguson, he had that streak, but he didn't really beat anyone. And he was getting beat up the whole time, even when he was winning. Something about Tony Ferguson this week convinced me that he's going to win this fight. Maybe I'm going to crash and burn on this, but if he wins, I think I'm going to be one of the only people, not the only person, but I don't think a lot of people are going to pick Tony. I think it's going to really help my lineup. I think he's going to somehow go back to the wrestling. And this is the fun stat. Tony Ferguson has not lost a fight in front of fans since 2012, right? His Gaethje fight, and then the Oliveira fight were not in front of fans. I really think you can see the energy in Tony in front of the fan. He feeds off that stuff, man. It sounds stupid, but some people really do feed off that stuff. And I think he's just a fan favorite. He got the crowd at weigh-ins to boo Dariush. Dariush is like the nicest guy in the world, and they were booing him. It's crazy. Just the mental aspect.
In the Gaethje fight?
What's that?
You said, do you think the fans would have helped him in the Gaethje fight?
He literally knocked out Justin Gaethje at the end of the second round. If he has 10 more seconds, he wins that fight, and he's fighting Khabib for the title. So, you can talk about the Gaethje fight. He got beat up the last 3 rounds, but he clocked Gaethje, dropped him, and if he had 10 more seconds, he would have won the fight. And then he's fighting for the title. He probably mauls Khabib, and then he's the champion right now. So, I went with Tony Ferguson. I think if there's anyone in the entire card that you want your life on the line, to hold your life in their hands, I want Tony Ferguson to hold my life in his hands. So
this lineup took a nosedive. Then
I went, 5-round main event. You got to go with the main event. I was really high on Chandler earlier, but there's something about Oliveira again this week. All it took was me to watch a video of his top 10 submissions. I think eventually Chandler, I don't think he should use his wrestling at all, but I think he's just an ego thing. He's going to want to try and take Oliveira down, and I think he's going to get caught eventually. So I went with Oliveira in this. And then I have Angelo, you got to hit me with that promo, man. You got to hit me with the promo.
So if you
with
don't
a little more energy than that, Jesus Christ.
Come on, this is the first promo.
Look at me.
They made a promotion around him.
Let me bang out some push-ups and get really excited.
Monkey knife fight.
You can't do push-ups. Go ahead.
On my knees. So monkey knife fight. It is daily fantasy. It is not DraftKings. DraftKings, we're building lineups, we're drafting fighters, and we end up competing against you and thousands of other people. Monkey Knife Fight is daily fantasy, but you only compete against the significant strike line, and you have to say more or less. What Monkey Knife Fight has done is they've put together a promotion saying if you play $20 in their fantasy, and if Jacob's lock of the week wins their fight, they will give you $10 free for no reason whatsoever. So this is a DraftKings video, but the Monkey Knife Fight promotion is leaning on Jacob's shoulders and his lock of the week pick. So go to playmkf.com/WeWantPicks. Use promo code WWP for a bunch of free money. And if Jacob's lock of the week wins their fight, you'll get another free $10. Jacob, tell them who your lock is and why they're in your lineup.
First, I need everyone in the comments in this video right now to just type thank you for the free $10. I just need a bunch of thank yous because I went out, I did my research, and I found Vivi against Caitlin. And I have no idea. I said it Tuesday. I did even more research. I have no idea how Caitlin wins this fight. A lot of her fights are decisions. I don't think it goes to a decision. I think Vivi finish it maybe early. I have watch our betting video because I loaded up on. I put my money where my mouth is for real on this one. I put a lot of bets on Vivi. So Vivi is a lock of the week, and then I rounded out my lineup with
Araujo, in case anybody doesn't know.
Araujo. Vivi, I call it Vivi. We're very close. And then I went to finish out my lineup, I went with 3 grapplers. And this is my big prediction is between these 3 grapplers, we're getting 15 takedowns between these 3, Giagos, Grundy, and Lutz. I think they dominate all 3 of them on the ground. They get 15 takedowns between all 3 of them. That's got to be like 75 points or something. And I just think they all win. So this is another 6-for-6 lineup. With the lock of the week hitting, you're welcome for the $10. And Tony's gonna come through for me. That's my big pick is Tony. Backup lock of the week.
What's funny is if you compare my lineup to yours, one of us is gonna kill it. I do like your murderer's row of grapplers there, Giagos, Grundy, and Lutz. I tried to get Giagos in there. I could have made an even swap, Shevchenko for Giagos.
And that was the swap I made. Was the second we talked about Tuesday. We were interested to see what Giagos was going to come out at. And I said I wanted him at the 87, but 91, he was still affordable. And that was the quickest switch I ever made was Giagos Giagos for Shevchenko. And I actually on this lineup, I have $700 left over, and I still love the lineup. So
the only reason I didn't do that is because Dan convinced me that Lutz was going to hammer Aguilar. So I would have had to leave Aguilar in there if I was going to do the Giagos swap. So I'm like, all right, Jacare is more affordable. I think he wins as well. So that's the maneuver I made.
My biggest dilemma was Ferguson. I had Pickett in originally, and then I went Barboza, and then I went to Tony. Tony just convinced me, and I just think, I mean, you guys are high on Shane. I'm a high on Shane as well, and I just think Ferguson, he just doesn't get finished, and I think the crowd really amps him up, and he finds a way to get the win.
Honestly, I didn't realize I had this much influence on your lineup. I'm gonna have to start using this in the future since we bet every week.
We'll see if there's a lot of pressure on you somehow. Daniel, walk us through your lineup.
Sure. So first off, I got Vivi lock of the week. Woo! I mean, I gotta just roll my man here, Jacob. He's
what a great pick, man. That looks good.
He's like 11 for 9 with lock of the weeks.
10 of my last 13.
I thought you hit more than you even. I think you had backup lock of the weeks that were hitting on week.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Anyways, the guy's unstoppable with the lock of the week. So I've learned very quickly you can't go against the lock of the week. I got VV. Hopefully she'll let me call her that. Jacob, you can put in a good word, but
I will absolutely.
Hopefully one day I'll meet her if you make an intro. But anyways, I got her. I think it's going to be a stand-up war. $7,400. It's a great value. And to Jacob's point earlier, I think she's got some grappling in her back pocket. So she could get a takedown, could get a sub. And I think literally in the worst possible case scenario, let's say she did lose this fight, which she won't because she's the lock of the week. She's going to score enough points to justify $7,400. So she's a great value. I got her in my lineup. And I got Dariush and Ferguson. So this is one that I went back and forth on. I'm a little nervous now that I realized how much that Jacob wants Ferguson to be like, the uncle of, week now. If he ever has a kid, Ferguson is going to be the godfather. That's for sure after that rant we just heard. But I think this comes down to what Ferguson shows up a little bit. But I also do think that Dariush is extremely good, extremely effective as a fighter. I just hope he gets enough points to justify the 8,600. So I think he's going to have a ton of takedowns. I think he'll land some some good ground and pound. I've heard a couple people say he's live for a sub, rear naked choke, potentially. So I think there's a lot of ways for him to score points. I think he wins the fight. So for $8,600 on a card where there's a lot of expensive people that I don't think are worth it, I went with him for the 8,600. Then I got Giagos over Soriano. Again, another one. Giagos, I think, should win this fight. I think he will win this fight, especially Soriano taking it short notice. For $9,100, he's expensive, but listen, if all those factors play the way they should, short notice, Soriano fighting up a weight class, Giagos should win. The only thing I will say is Soriano is training at a good camp now, and he just fought back in March, so it could be a live fight. Even still, I think Giagos is going to justify the spend on him and score a ton of points. And I think he's live for a stoppage if Soriano is not in tip-top shape. So $9,100, I've got him in there. Then we go to Grundy over Venata. This is one where I think Grundy's going to – I mean, the last fight I watched of Grundy, I was impressed by him. I think his striking is improving. I think Venata is very tough, but I also think he's a little wild. And I think Grundy's going to capitalize on all those moments where he gets a little wild, gets a little over-aggressive, and score takedowns. So I think there's going to be a mix of striking and takedowns, and I think Grundy's going to get a ton of points. $8,200, well worth it. Then I got Jacare. So I feel really good about this one. I saw a lot of people talking about Muniz earlier in the week, and Jacare is getting old. And I mean, Angelo, you said it earlier, 2 of his 3 recent losses were split decisions, I think, or one was a split decision to the current champ. And the other one, I still think that was a bit of a fluke. Against Kevin Holland, he was having his way. Exactly how that fight was.
I love Kevin Holland, but that was an absolute fluke.
You guys
nailed it when you were talking about it earlier that he was going to do whatever he wanted to do to Kevin Holland and just got knocked out.
He took him down twice, maybe 3 times within literally 2 minutes. And so, anyways, I think in this fight, the reason I like this fight so much is I think Souza's grappling. Like when you get older, the last things to go are grappling ability and power, most specifically power, right? And Jacare has a big right hand. I don't think Muniz has the wrestling to take Jacare down if he wants to. I think Jacare can dictate where this fight goes. And I don't think Muniz has the striking to finish Jacare or to really win a striking battle. So I think Souza's got a couple different paths to victory, but the one I'm hoping for is that big right hand. And drop Muniz and score a ton of points. So $8,500 again, I think it's a great value. And then my last one, this is the one that I flip-flopped in and out 100 different times, but I'm going to go with Wright over Pickett. And the reason I went with him over some others, there are some other cheaper fighters that I could have went with. I just think he has, compared to the others, more upside of a finish, right? He's got a ton of knockouts. I think he has less risk of being finished. I don't think Pickett is a huge power puncher. I don't think he's a major finisher. I think in a decision, maybe they don't score a ton of points, but the big X factor for me is I think he does have grappling and a takedown in his back pocket and a submission win here. So kind of weighing out all the upsides and downsides of all the 8,100 and below fighters, I ultimately stuck with him. So, that's the one I think will help, hopefully make my lineup. It could make or break my lineup, but I think I made the right choice. So I'm going with Wright for $8,100. And
Dan,
I think it's interesting this week. We all have very different lineups.
And you forgot the main event.
I purposely left the main event out. I purposely left it out. The reason being, right, we've talked about it before, 5-round fights. You always want someone in a 5-round fight because if they're going to fight for 5 rounds, you're going to get 2 extra rounds worth of points. I don't think that fight is going past 2.5 rounds. I don't. And I think I don't know what's going to happen in that fight, to be honest. I think Chandler's live early for a knockout. But I
don't think it's going 5 rounds. I don't know what's going to happen.
It's just a wild fight, right? Like
I have 2 points for the main event that I actually want to ask you guys. First one is not as serious as the second point. The second point is about Chandler. The first point is this is a point that I had no idea until Angelo, you told me that fighters are not allowed to fight with contacts in. That's a real thing. Is that what you told me before?
In different commissions, like New Jersey, you can't fight with contact lenses in. And you can't fight if you've had LASIK surgery. You had to have the other surgery.
The reason I ask is because
that's a real thing.
While they were doing while during the embedded, Oliveira is signing autographs, and that he has the thickest glasses.
Yeah, he fights blind. He always
I've
has.
ever seen.
He doesn't fight with contacts. He fights blind. Always has.
Which is
Crazy.
like the most impressive thing I've ever. That's ridiculous. I mean, literally, his glasses are like this thick. I mean, that's crazy. And the second point was Michael Chandler talked about his wrestling as he described his wrestling as anti-jiu-jitsu wrestling. Can you please explain what that might mean?
Yeah. Oh, that's a known thing. There's
elbows in. Yeah, that's.
He said, I'm not a normal
that
wrestler.
happened over the years. Everybody to think back to like the early 90s, nobody knew jiu-jitsu. And then all of a sudden wrestlers came on board and they kept getting submitted and they figured out, hey, we can still be really good wrestlers and defend all the jiu-jitsu. So it's very tough to fight wrestlers who have jiu-jitsu defense. So that's the anti-wrestling thing.
Yeah. So I didn't know if that was like a real thing or if that he's just saying that
to
make himself feel better.
Every wrestler, it's easier to teach them how to not get submitted than it is to teach them how to submit everybody. And it's an interesting segue to Nick's lineup because we talked about it in the individual breakdown videos. Charles Oliveira fights very similar to Nick on the ground where his submissions come from scrambles. He is not a traditional jiu-jitsu guy where he's setting things up and his feet are on the hips and then he's going to pivot. Oh, let me do triangle omoplata. Like he's not doing methodical things. In these wild scrambles, he sees something and he snatches it up. And that's actually very similar to how Nick fights. So Nick isn't here right now. He's training for his Bellator fight on June 11th, but it's a very similar style. And that goes against my case for Chandler, where I don't care how good you are at jiu-jitsu. If you get caught in a scramble, you get caught in a scramble. Like it's a scramble. That's what it is. So he did go with Michael Chandler. So Nick's lineup is Michael Chandler in the main event. He thought the power was enough to get it done. He went with Dariush over Ferguson for similar reasons that we said earlier in the week, where it's like, 2 years ago, Ferguson was the man because he's crazy and he's almost losing every single fight, but then somehow survives. But Justin Gaethje sort of took something from him that he may never get back. He's going with Shane Burgos over Barboza. He also said that's a tricky one. He said his opinion is Shane Burgos is busier, more active. His chin is better, but his worry was, is Barboza going to light up Shane's legs? So he went with Shane because he's confident that the forward pressure and the high volume will get it done, but he's worried about Barboza's leg kicks. Jacare, for all the reasons Dan and I mentioned. Kevin Aguilar over Lutz. He thought that fight was a pick'em for the most part, and Aguilar was very affordable. So he went that route. And then he went with Gallegos because he said dominant wrestler, short notice fight. He said that's pretty much, for him as close to a guarantee as you're going to get on a crazy card like this. So that is our breakdown, our lineups. If anything changes, which hopefully it doesn't, but if anything changes and a fight drops, come back, check our Facebook, check the Twitter, check everywhere. We'll get you some updated lineups. If you have any questions, let us know. And let us know in the comments who your favorite lineup is or who has your favorite lineup. And don't forget, we have a free DraftKings League. It is free. Join it. Play in our contest. If you win, we'll give you $15. I personally will Venmo it to you or PayPal or whatever you use, Cash App. I don't care. If you're a member, we'll give you $30. So there's a join button under this video. Click the join button. Support
the love of God. Become a member and play Monkey Knife Fight.
All of the above.
And Angelo will Venmo you. He's gotten very good at that over the last few months.
I'm sending out left and right. I'm sending out money, except Dan, I'm pretty sure I'm on the up and up with you. But anyway,
up and
comment down below. If you're a member,
he's going to trash you and then just try to end the video.
I tried to speed it up. If you're a member, use the custom emojis.
I wouldn't put up with it, Dan.
Use the custom emojis.
He's going to keep ending
my Venmo account. I mean, they might max me out at some point. I might need to get another Venmo.
What Dan is talking about, for people who don't know, is him and I bet on the side every week who has the better lineup.
Venmo
I'm
sent an alert to Angelo saying, "Are you sure do you want to set up a reoccurring payment?" Like every time he clicks, like,
Dan
do you want
lost
to
to me I lost last week. I
Now
beat him two. Like,
he's singling down to single weeks. Dan lost to me 2 months ago.
no. You are 1-2 in the last 3 weeks.
Oh,
Angelo pays Dan.
Jacob,
as
just
often
please
as
tell
the lock
them.
of- yeah, Angelo pays Dan as often as the lock of the week loses, which just doesn't happen.
All right. Anyway,
I just set up my utility bills to Angelo's account. He just pays them for me via his DraftKings losing. So,
all right. Nobody's watching anymore, Daniel. All right. Comment down below. If you're a member, use the emojis. We have an emoji for all of us. Let us know who you think has the best lineup, and we will see you on Saturday. Every single week, we give away DraftKings gift cards to the winner of our free DraftKings contests. Well, now, if you're a member, we have very exciting news. If you're not a member, we still have exciting news. So going forward, starting this week, what we are doing is the winner of the free DraftKings contest will get $15 cash money, not in DraftKings gift card, literally cash. If you want Venmo, we will send you Venmo. If you want it in PayPal, we will send you PayPal. However you take your money, we will send you money. Subscribers will get $15 if they win that free DraftKings contest. If you are a member, you will get $30 if you win. Double. We will double it. You will get $30 from us to you if you win our free DraftKings contest. If you are new here, there is a link in the description below. And in that link, you will join our DraftKings League. And every single week, we do free contests. You go in there, you set your lineup, you compete. It is 100% free. It costs you literally nothing to join, literally nothing to compete. But if you win and you're a subscriber, you get $15. If you win and you're a member, you get $30, however you want your money. PayPal, Venmo, whatever's easiest for you. If you're not a member now and you want to become a member, there is a join button right below this video. Click that button and become a member. There's also a link in the description of this video to become a member. I just want to give a giant thank you to all of our members and supporters. We had another amazing week. Thanks to you. I want to specifically thank Ansi Music, Chris Tarano, David Ramon, Chris Jory, Dunchichi, Jesse Cahea, Laputa, Joe Todoro, Logan Garrick, Sweet Spot X, Jordan Burgard, Aaron Reynolds, Brent Hinson, Jill, Juan Valdez, Chris Riley, Kayla Roth, and Pierre Exelholm. Thank you all very much. If you are not a member and you want to become one, click the join button down below. If you want to support the channel, we have a donation link in the description. Thank you all very, very much.